Thomas, just come here. Come on up. Which is your better side?
Neither. It's like bad in a 360 kind of thing.
Do you mind if I run through some, let's say, talking points from my phone? I promise you I'm not scrolling social media.
That's fine.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind.
All right.
I wouldn't blame you.
All right, so how's your trip to Lithuania? How are you enjoying it? Or maybe not enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. I'm a little disappointed because the forecast said the weather would be like very English. Like just raining and cold.
Today.
Well, I'm indoors today. So like yesterday it was like sunny and like warm, and it was just it didn't feel like home, you know.
Oh, okay. I see. But today is a lot closer to home, right?
Oh well, I'm sweating.
You're indoors.
You're sweating. Oh, absolutely.
All right. So you've also mentioned you have like a panel or a table, right? Where you.
I do.
And what do you have there? Do you have the?
Not enough. We did not bring enough stuff.
Okay. So you're already sold out.
It's getting there. It's getting there. We got some posters and some T-shirts and stuff, but yeah, we didn't bring enough stuff. We yesterday morning we got contacted by UPS who was shipping everything, and they said, "Give us 1,000 euros, or you're not getting this stuff." So we did that. So if you're wondering why my merch is really expensive, I'm passing those savings on to you.
You up the price, right?
Oh, 100%.
But we have to thank UPS.
Yeah. It's all UPS's fault. And this morning I found the boxes had been punched and kicked to death as well. So I love them. Okay. We brought our card game Muffin Time, and they broke open every single box.
UPS.
Yeah, they seemingly, or customs, they broke open every single box, I assume checking for cocaine. Okay. Which really sucks, because now all my cocaine's gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a problem I usually run into as well. Yeah.
I mean, that's why they were so expensive anyways, because it was full of cocaine, and there was like, no more cocaine for you guys.
Gotcha. Okay. First off, I had like this sort of question. You are a pretty open person, right? You have quite a few videos about yourself, about your career, about your early life, right? And when you're invited to these conferences, I assume you go to many conventions, right? What is like the main ticker or the driver for you, like in discussions? I'm trying to formulate the question correctly. It seems that everything that there is to know about you is on your channel. Yeah. So when we're sitting here talking about yourself, like, do you still have the drive? Because I'm sorry to interject myself into this discussion, but I'm a YouTuber for just 4 years. So the first 2 years, I visited, conventions and conferences, and I loved to talk about myself. And the last 2 years, I reject everything because I'm done with it. I've told my story 10 million times. There's nothing else to say. Like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I didn't used to make videos just talking about myself, but then I ran out of ideas, and every time I ran
Q&A time.
Every time I ran out of ideas, I would just make a video about like myself, because I'd be like, I can't come up with anything new. Let's talk about the past, and I have like done every video I can talking about my past now. So when I run out of ideas, nothing comes out. But yeah, so I come up on this stage, and it can be very weird because like the hosts will like say something to me about my life that I've forgotten I shared. Something like horrendously personal. They'll be like, "So Tom, you had a twin that's dead," and I'm like, "Fuck, yeah, I guess." Christ. I'm like, "Tom, your parents, they got divorced and then remarried, right?" I'm like, "Yeah."
But
sure
they are remarried, right?
Yeah, they got remarried. My parents got divorced. I paid off my mom's mortgage.
Last I checked, they are remarried.
Yeah, I paid off my mom's mortgage, and then my parents got remarried. Probably.
Okay.
And now I want the money back. So I just gotta wait till they die.
But the mortgage thing is something that your family does not address.
They do. That was. Well, I'm written into their wills. I have to hope that like if my mom dies first, my dad's gonna probably remarry young, and then that's that money gone. So like the kind of hope is.
Okay.
See, I can always overshare new things if you want.
Okay, cool. Just completely skip that part. So I've introduced you as a director, as a writer, as a producer, as a comedian, as a YouTuber, right? And you are this sort of an all-around talented person. How do you feel about the fact that most likely your whole legacy is the asdf movie, and it's because it seems like you're pretty chill about it. Like, can you expand a bit on that? Like, you're usually the asdf guy, right?
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I think a lot of creatives, like, they'll have like something that does really well, and then they'll come to resent that thing because they're like, oh, people only know me about this. But like, when asdfmovie blew up, and I wanted it to, and I made it to. When I made it, I wanted it to be a thing that like did well. And I was so excited when it did because it meant that people would watch the other stuff I also did. Like, I have no delusions that, like, if I didn't have asdfmovie, like, it's not like my other videos would be doing better. It would be, no one would be on my channel watching
as good as they did, right?
Yeah, so, like, it's been great because I make asdfmovie, people come to my channel, and then they also will see my sketches and other stuff, and that's awesome. So, yeah, asdfmovie is the most popular thing, and that's the thing people want to buy merch of, which is why that's, like, mostly like, my booth says asdfmovie by TomSka, not TomSka, but that's just because, yeah, people recognize the cartoons more than me, but that's fine. It's fine. I made it. Like, I'm not, like, standing in the shadow of this, like, thing that I didn't even make.
Right. When you say you made it, I will also, yeah, sorry, just sort of threw that in, right? asdfmovie. Is there a single person here that does not know raise your, or if you know asdfmovie, just raise your hand if you know the movie. If you know those videos.
I kind of desperately want to see it if one person doesn't. I mean, like, if like you're over 40, like, or like under 10, like, probably not. That's fine. Like, there's like a 20-year window in which
Probably. So when you say you've made them, so I would like to touch a bit on the origins of you discovering animation, right? Mm-hmm. I'll read this because I don't want to, want to shred it. Your friend Ruben showed you a webtoon from Tom Deslongchamp, and you fell in love with animation.
Yeah.
Then, so there's sort of a leap, right, in your story that you told. Then there's sort of a leap where you tried to make animation yourself with PowerPoint or something, right? Yeah. How did that go?
Bad.
All right, and then later on, you sort of still made certain animations. Some of them aren't even, like the new camera one, that's not even available online, I think.
Lost to time.
And then later we get these asdf movies, all your other projects. The thing I want to focus on is, like, you fell in love with animation, but you yourself are never mentioned as an animator. You yourself never animate. So is it like sort of were you like business savvy at a very young age, realizing that, I want to make animation, but I'm not entirely like
good at it.
Yeah. So I have to sort of outsource stuff. Like, how do you come to that conclusion?
And I mean, I think that's a very normal thing. Creative. I think when people start to be a creative, you naturally want, like, do everything.
But yeah, like as a kid, like you're like, I want to do comics, and your first instinct is like, I'll try to draw. You draw a very bad thing, right? And then you just quit. That's the normal that's the normal progression when you're a kid, I think.
Yeah, so basically I did animate for, I don't know, like 5-6 years, and that was like all fun. And what that did is it did give me an understanding of animation and like kind of how it at least works. But then, when I was like 18 years old, I had all these ideas, and I was too slow. Like, if I wanted to animate like a little sketch, it would take, like an asdfmovie gag that's like 2 seconds long. That would still take me like 3 days or more. And it was just like, this is stupid. So, then someone was just like, oh, I'll animate something for your channel if you do some voice acting for me. So it was like this unpaid thing. And that's how the first asdfmovie came.
A 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Edited
really
it. Created it. Sorry, not edited it. It created it, right?
He animated it, yeah.
Okay.
And that was, and like the thing is, like, obviously when we made asdfmovie, like, I hoped it would do well, but I had no idea it was going to do what it did. So if I'd known it was going to be like a thing, I would have been, we would have had like a contract, and I would have paid him money.
Oh yeah, how's that going? Because I heard that for the first asdfmovie, you paid the guy. By the way, the guy was 13, and then later you paid him like 30 pounds.
About 30 euros, yeah. Yeah. It was very bad. But to be fair, I paid him 20 euros. I paid him about 30 euros after I got my first YouTube paycheck for $100. Okay. So it wasn't like I wasn't like hoarding all this wealth. It was like, oh wow, my first paycheck. Here's like a third of it. And then I kind of went, that was fine. And then about like 3 years later, I was like, that was not fine. And then I like actually paid him like kind of the amount that I would normally pay someone now, to kind of be like, yeah, sorry, that was bad, but like we were both young and dumb and full of fun. Fun. Full of fun.
Full of fun. How did, like, right now I understand you have, like, sort of, you already have the perfect formula for the workflow for asdfmovies, but what was it like the first time? You have a 13-year-old animator, you're 18 years old, the asdfmovies themselves are like sort of, I don't know, rejected fever dreams or something, like segments of rejected sketches, right?
So rejected.
So how
rejected is a different thing. But yeah. So
how did the workflow look like with the dude that's 13, and how do you communicate? Like, what do you want to see on screen?
So you touched on it kind of earlier. Like, I initially did comics. So when I was like 16 and 17, I was doing these comics in the asdfmovie style, because that was like as good as I could do. I could really slowly draw these comics. So basically, I already had pretty much all of these comics, and then when this kid says, "Oh, I'll animate something for you if you voice act something for my channel."
You basically got panels, right?
Yeah,
from you.
I basically had a storyboard
okay.
of the jokes, and I just gave him like 10 of them, and the ones that I hadn't already made, I just drew. I drew, and I said, "Do this," and that was it. So I went with my friend. I recorded the voices, and gave him the audio and the comics, and just said, make that move.
Do a thing.
Yeah, and he did. He took him a couple days, and then we just released the video and went, no, that probably won't mean anything. And then it did.
Okay. But, okay, so then how do you come up with those ideas? Because, again, like, I would think that these are some rejected, like, all asdfmovies are like, I hope you don't. I hope you don't take it too personally.
I don't care.
They look like you don't care. Okay. They look like, you would sit down with your friends and you would write a script. Like, this is a hypothetical, and you would write a script like, imagine if you steal someone's nose and then the police kick out the door and they barge in and you're like, no, let's scrap this. And then every time you scrap these ideas, you just make it into an asdfmovie. So how do you come up with these ideas?
That's actually kind of true. Because the thing is, like, what I kind of learned about jokes is that every joke can be told 100 different ways. And you can basically, like, the concept of a joke, what makes a joke funny, can almost universally be expressed in about 2 to 3 seconds. But there are some, like a comedy movie, you could take a 2 to 3 second joke and stretch that out to a 90-minute movie. Like a basic concept, like, like what if people got high and time traveled? That could be like a 3-second gag where, like, there's just some guy standing in the middle of the Coliseum being like, oh, what? Or you could make Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like, you can kind of take a concept and stretch or squash it as much as possible, and that's what asdfmovie gags mostly are. It's like you come up with any concept and you say, like, what's the quickest, most minimal way I can express this joke? And that came about originally from me not being able to draw and being like, I had a joke idea, but how can I draw this in the simplest way? And that's how it became these asdf comics, and then that got translated to the asdfmovies. Okay,
how do you then determine which ones are deleted scenes? Because they're equally good, I think. You've mentioned that they didn't make the final cut because they were either too long or not funny. Who decides that? Like, who do you have like a parameter?
Me, and I'm almost always wrong as well. Because, like, when I make an asdfmovie, like, it's very common that I will just, like, panic in the last, like, 24, 48 hours, and I'll start being like, oh, we gotta have more, like, short jokes, and I gotta get rid of this joke, and I'll massively overthink it, and I don't need to be doing that. And then I'll, like, add in jokes that I've written an hour before the video comes out, and they're, like, terrible, and they're the jokes that no one likes, and then I'll, like, cut out jokes that people would have loved. I don't make good decisions in that, because I'm usually, like, sleep deprived and just running on caffeine, and I'm just manic. I
actually had a question. Please run me through your average day, so that will be fun, right?
Can
you?
My average day, there kind of isn't one, but, like, it depends, like, if we're doing it, like, so if we're doing an asdfmovie, and right now, me doing another asdfmovie entirely depends on if Surfshark VPN will...
Aren't they the sponsors of... Oh, yeah, here we go.
They're
the sponsors.
And I came here so I could schmooze them and be like, you want to buy asdfmovie 15.
Well, of course they do.
But, please. But basically, like, if we're working on, like, an asdfmovie or a sketch or something, if it's, like, a writing day, then, yeah, I'll get up. I run my own company, so the day starts at 10 a.m. That's just a rule. I am I don't understand what like a 9 a.m. Why would you? Do you have to wake up at like 7? Ew, icky. And I work like from my own garden, so I'm waking up at like 9:30. But basically, what we would do when we're like trying to write an asdf movie is you are trying to brute force jokes, because what you were saying about like laughing about with your friends, like, oh, wouldn't it be silly if, like, that is kind of how like the jokes come about. So.
So there are a couple of writers right now for
asdf movie 1 to 10 was just me alone, and then after that, I just started, writing with my
riffing
friend
with friends and then
Yeah.
coming up with ideas, right?
Yeah, with my friend Eddie and a few other people. But what we'll do is so like one of the strategies we would often do is like take a big whiteboard. I don't know if, yeah, big board, and we just write random words on it, like toaster, octopus, bees. And then we would just like hyperfixate on those words, or like try and put the words together, like bees and toaster, and just try and like come up with ridiculous
That's an interesting
ideas.
process, yeah.
So like the character like Mine Turtle, that literally just came from like the word tortoise and like boom.
Explosion, right?
Yeah, and it was just like we just like peas. And it was like boom, sandwich, tortoise, cheese. Tortoise, boom. Oh, wait, what if tortoises kind of look like landmines? What if one wasn't? And that's it. So,
Yeah, the logical link, right?
yeah, it just made perfect sense in my head. And that's kind of how a lot of them then come about. And so we can, when we're actually sat down like focusing on it, like we can probably go through something. We'll probably come up with like 100, 200 gags, and like 90% of those we won't even bother writing down. You'll be like, what if a cat wore shoes? No. And then like
I can see it now. It's a 2-second clip with a cat wearing shoes, and it just and
like-
that's it. That's the clip.
yeah, and I go, I'm not doing that one. But it's like, what if the cat said like these shoes are big? But then what if he said it in like Elmo's voice, and he's like, these shoes are big, and it's like,
There you go. Write that down.
But and that's kind of it. Like, is it's just like sometimes it comes down to doing a silly voice or something, because there's a lot of jokes where it's like it's not quite there yet, and then it will just like start doing it in different voices, or maybe we'll like do the joke in reverse and just play around and then
sorry to interrupt. When you come up with a certain character for that short sketch in asdf, like for instance, you have some sketches are voiced by very famous people. Do you think in advance, like, oh, this could sound great in the Markiplier's voice, or is this just an afterthought later?
Sometimes it's very, very calculated. Like I will have written an asdf movie, and then it's like, we should get some names in here, and I'm just kind of like, you say like, okay, I know that like the odd one's out, like likes asdf movie, so like, if like I'll give him like 3 sketches, and he can do the lines, and I'll maybe like use his lines from 2 of them or something. But yeah, sometimes I do absolutely think a joke like has to be in a certain person's voice. When I was working like Jason Steele, who did Charlie the Unicorn, when I wrote like the new the dog with a knife joke, it had to be him. He's like, what? No, don't. It's like I was like, that has to be him. Like Markiplier as well. Like, hello, I am David. Like I wrote that joke with his voice in mind. And the thing is, there's a lot of jokes where if I don't get that voice actor or they don't reply in time, then it will just be me doing an impression of them. Because even when I work with them, I send them me doing an impression of them for them to do back for me. So like Robert Benfer, who does so he was like an animator called Nox. He does the Stegosaurus. But like the file I sent him sounded almost identical to the one he did, because I'm like, I am a Stegosaurus, and because I knew how I wanted it, and I just wanted him to do it back the exact way. I'm like, do the thing you do. It's very like regressive. Kind of insulting, honestly, to them. I'm just like, yeah, you do that one voice, do the voice for me. But yeah, so.
But you are a talented voice actor, because you're like, what was the joke that you make trumpet sounds, or you're a very talented trumpet?
Yeah, I can. I don't know if I can do it right now because my voice is lost, but like. Oh,
okay. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I can't. My throat's completely gone.
That's pretty good.
Thank you so much. I'm delving way back into like internet history, but like there is a guy made a video called like The End of the World, which is like it's such an old video. He's like, okay, then fire the missiles, and he's like, let me tell you the story about how the world ended. He's doing that voice, and I really wanted him for one of the more, like, I think asdfmovie 13 or something, and to do a line where he goes like, come on everybody, do the whale dance, and he didn't get back to me in time. He was like, oh, I'll do it, but then he was busy. So the one in the video is just me doing an impression of him, and that's just how it, yeah.
Okay, but then I think you've mentioned, right, that the asdfmovie 8 has Kylie Minogue voicing a sketch. Miss, you need to pay for your food. Nope. Blah.
Yeah.
So she's the waitress, I guess.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
do people know who Kylie Minogue is in Lithuania? I don't know. Like.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yes. Because genuinely, I was just like, when I worked with her, I like, it wasn't like I sought her out. I was like, I need Kylie Minogue.
Because that's what I was thinking. Like, you need her voice.
What happened is basically Google, like, she had a new album coming out, and her management were like, yeah, we'll give her like press time with YouTubers. This will help her career. That'll help Kylie Minogue get off the ground. Starving unknown artist Kylie Minogue.
Give her a shout out.
Yeah, literally, and so
an upcoming artist.
So they was just like, do you want 30 minutes with Kylie Minogue? And I'm like, go on. They're like, to do a video, and I'm like,
context.
Nah. Well, they're like, to do a video, and I was like, go on. For the internet, nice. No. So yeah, I found out that I'd have like 10 or so minutes with Kylie Minogue, and we were midway through working on asdfmovie 8, and so I typed up all the jokes into a script, which is the first time we'd ever done it, is actually script them, and I handed them over to her like agent who was at this event, and they just, with a big Sharpie, just went like, no, 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 no. And then like there was one line that they let her say, which was like, "Miss, you need to pay for your food." That was like the least controversial line in the whole thing.
What's at least the one that they didn't allow?
Well, all of the ones in Aston. I mean, like, you know, like she could have been, could have fucking voiced the suicidal muffin, for all we know, or like the skateboarding cow. But because our management said no to everything, I get her in this recording booth. I brought all my equipment. And she's like,
"What do you mean you get her into a recording booth?"
She's just like here. She's just being moved around from room to room.
Oh, okay.
You know, she's like filming collabs with other YouTubers and like interviews and stuff. And then she gets.
Oh, you had the technical capabilities to do it
brought
there.
all
right?
my recording equipment, and this was at the YouTube space, so they had loads of stuff there. But yeah, she gets like just shuffled into this room with me, and I'm like, "Hello, Kylie Minogue." And she's like, "Hello." That's a really good impression, by the way. It was like she was here, and. Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're doing some voice acting for a cartoon? She's like, oh, neato. It's Australian. She's like, oh, barbecue. And I'm like, here's this line, and she like reads the line, and I'm like, yep. And she's like, what? I'm like, that was the only one they're gonna let you say.
That's it, right?
And I was very cheeky. I was like, I mean, if you want to do the rest of the script, she was like, well, if my management actively crossed them out, probably not. But then what she did is she just went, well, since you're recording, and she just said like 50 random lines of dialogue. She was just, you know, she just said different things like, where's my handbag? And, oh, look at that doggy. She just did loads of random lines of dialogue.
So you could have used those, right?
Yeah, so I have all of those, but the thing is, I really don't want to get sued by Kylie Minogue's management.
Yep, smart.
So I just had all this audio, and it was like 2 years later or something, I was doing like a radio show, and they asked me to do like a comedy sketch for radio, and it was like, well, I have all these lines of dialogue from Kylie Minogue, we can probably get away with playing them once. So I like wrote like a 2-minute sketch in which Kylie Minogue like killed my dog, skinned it, and turned it into a handbag, just to make like...
Does she know about the sketch?
I hope not. That would be probably not good.
Okay, understandable. asdfmovie 3, I'll read this. Honey, why is the baby on fire? Buy me more jewelry!
That was pretty good.
Yeah. I'm a pretty good voice actor as well. Is this a random... is this super random or some sort of social commentary? Like... Are women in UK maybe setting babies on fire if they don't get enough jewelry?
It's the number one cause of infant mortality in the UK. Is women without enough jewelry burning their infants. No. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. That was probably a last-minute joke. Because The original line that the woman is supposed to say is "Take me to a fancy restaurant."
That doesn't really help,
yeah,
your,
and I
ca-
just-
help your case.
Because it was like something that my friend would say. He was like, "Women be like, take me to a fancy restaurant," and and then at the last minute, I was just like, I changed it to buy me more jewelry. I don't know why the baby was on fire. I just thought it'd be funny, the visual of a baby on fire. That's not a thing that normally happens. Babies are usually not on fire.
Yes, that is pretty rare, I think. I hope.
Well,
If you buy enough jewelry, then it should be rare,
yeah,
right? Okay.
you got to keep buying them, fellas.
Right. Sorry, got lost. I got lost in your beautiful voice. I'm very
Thank
sorry.
you.
Do you know? Of course you do know, but I would just want you to expand on that. Certain asdfmovies, I lost it. Yeah, asdfmovie 7 and asdfmovie 11, they're age restricted, as well as the Muffin Song. Okay, Muffin Song, I get it. He wants to kill himself all the time. He wants to be murdered, right? I get it. But asdfmovie 7 and asdfmovie 11, do you know why they're age restricted? Are there certain topics
and
that
the
you've
complete
touched?
collection as well?
The what collection?
Yeah, YouTube is like is just telling me to go away. They're like, we don't stop now. Basically, yeah, YouTube has started to take this really aggressive stance against like just any content that references suicide. So, and the only reason that not all of the asdfmovies are age restricted is because they just haven't noticed yet, I guess. But yeah, like it's like kind of every month now, it's like another video gets basically locked, which really sucks because now basically anyone who either doesn't have a YouTube account or is under 18 cannot see those videos.
I see, yeah.
And I asked YouTube, I was like, oh, could we like re-upload the videos and like add like age warnings or something? Or like content warnings, because that's what I do now anyway. And they were just like, no. And they've just kind of been, yeah, like bit by bit just saying, yeah, it's a bit demoralizing, I won't lie. But no, I can't even be like, I get it, because it's not being done to protect kids or anything. It's literally just being done for like Coca-Cola. Because big brands don't want to even risk their like product being advertised next to something even remotely controversial. So it has nothing to do with like political correctness or safeguarding children. It's 100% about protecting corporate interests.
I get it, yeah.
It's capitalism, baby. It's
capitalism.
And it is just a case of like, yeah, brand doesn't want to be seen next to joke where guy shoots himself.
Or maybe jumps off a building.
Yeah.
DJ Flop.
Or breaks his own neck.
I would imagine. asdfmovie 9 has my favorite bit out of all the asdfmovies. The people that know me here will definitely understand why I relate so hard to this one. Hey, want to see an impression of my dad? Comedy. So
Yeah, so you know how I said
very
my
bad
parents got
impression?
divorced? That joke came out during that period. Where my parents.
Okay.
Yeah, I've written like my own issues into asdfmovie quite a lot.
I actually wanted to touch on that, but getting back to asdfmovie 9, so this is my favorite bit, like the one singular bit that's my favorite out of all of them. Do you have your favorite bit?
My favorite bit, I think, will always be the new camera bit. Like, hey, check out my new camera. Bang. Oh, wait, this
Oh,
isn't
it's not a camera.
Because I wrote that joke when I was like 11, and like I was saying earlier, like when I wrote that joke when I was 11, and it was the first animation I ever made, and it was like 40 seconds long. I don't know how it was 40 seconds long, but that's what I mean about like, you know, any joke can be any amount of time, just how much you stretch it out. Like if I told that joke now, I probably wouldn't even have that first line. It would probably be just like, bang, this isn't the camera. Because like, you don't need him saying, check out my new camera, because the joke, like, he shoots the guy and you're like, oh, why do you do that? And then you still get the punchline that he thought it was a camera.
You understand it was a camera, yeah.
So like, yeah, technically you don't even need that first line. So, I mean, I retold that joke 12 years ago. And yeah, even if I told it now, it would even be half as long. And even now it's one of the shortest gags. Even now, it's like 1.7 seconds long.
Yeah, it's like
and I would make it 1 second long. I would be like, I don't need that. Because like the first asdfmovie is like 2 minutes long and it has 10 jokes in it. And like the most recent asdfmovie, I think, is like 1 minute and 50 seconds, and it has like 25 jokes in it. So it's the whole thing is about twice the speed or more now.
Funny you mentioned guns, right? So I've watched a couple.
Because I have one right here. Hey!
I've watched a couple of your videos where you're talking about yourself, but like I said, right in the beginning, you have a lot of these videos, but you never touch upon your fascination on guns. You have a lot of weapons in your asdf movies, so knives, pistols, and rifles, and you have like a collection of rifles sometimes in your backdrop. Do you want to talk about that? Also, you said that at some point when you were younger, you started collecting BB guns. Yeah. So you have a fascination with guns?
Yeah,
you want to tell me something?
So yeah, the weapon thing is one of the, like, a lot of people are like, oh, why
you never touched upon that.
I kind of have. So like, yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh, why didn't you upload like the asdfmovies to TikTok? And it's like, yeah, we have. They just get banned because TikTok is like, ooh, a weapon, ooh, a knife, and then it's like delete video. It's like, it's a cart, guys, and then. So yeah, so that's why like asdfmovie isn't on TikTok, because even though we have uploaded it, like the accounts get banned or like the videos get deleted. But yeah, no, I as a kid I loved weapons, like especially guns, because they were just things from movies. They weren't like real things. Like they were just things in like TV shows and movies where guys were like pew pew pew, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And so I would buy BB guns and like I knew guns were real. I'm not like a complete idiot, but they were like more of a concept, and so I loved having them. I thought they were awesome. And then kind of around about like 2015, 2014, there was this like shift in like, have you heard of America? Where like just the school shootings just went wild. And it was like, like they were like, hey, we shot up a primary school and now we're just going to shoot up a school every week. And that just made a massive shift in my relationship with guns, because initially, like, I would vlog in front of my wall of guns.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, guns are awesome. And then very quickly I was like, guns suck. This is lame. And so I stopped vlogging in front of my gun wall.
You've dropped this, right? You've dropped this gig.
Yeah, I mean, I still have my gun wall. It's like just out of frame. It's still there, and I took it and I'm like, nice. Because they're still cool. But yeah, I now like try not to like worship them in the same way I used to like in my videos, because I'm worried that like that might have consequences. It's like, yeah, if I make a video and it's like, wow, guns are cool, and like a British kid watches it, they'll be like, haha, guns are cool, whatever. But if an American kid watches it, they're like, haha, guns are cool, I will now own a gun. And they go, haha, and now I'm going to school.
I will now quickly get one because it's that easy.
100%. And so that's why I was like, ooh, I don't like that. That's not good. That's bad. Oh my God.
I'll run through a couple of questions that I got on my Instagram from sort of my audience, but the people that watch your videos. So this is a super typical Lithuanian question. You don't have to specify the amount, but which asdfmovie made was the most profitable, let's say?
Well, the Muffin song.
Oh, because
that
it
has 200 million views. Yeah,
okay.
that one. For sure. I mean, yeah.
I also wanted to ask, like, who voices the Muffin? Because the Muffin really does sound like a little kid.
It is a little. Well, he's not little anymore. Like, he's like 15 or 16 now. But
he or she was like 10
years
years old.
Sam Lavanino. He was just a little voice actor. I heard him in like 2013.
So you asked a 10-year-old boy to 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, much worse. So basically, there was this cartoon called
talk about suicide. To
yeah,
voice
yeah,
a
yeah.
suicidal. Suicidal.
I'll tell you the story. So like so there was this cartoon called Bravest Warriors by Channel. Exactly. And there was this character called Catbug, who was this little ladybug cat thing that was voiced by this like 7-year-old kid who was his story is like he lives in LA and his like parents were voice actors, and so they were just like, oh, cool, a thing we can sell. And he was just like he had this wonderfully unique, hyperactive little voice and performance style, and I was like, oh, I want him in my videos. And I was just like, I never thought I'd get him. So I was actually tweeting out like, oh, can anyone do a voice like this? And the people who made the show saw it, and they were like, well, we have this kid.
That's the original.
And they were basically like, well, if it will cover the cost of like, like getting a studio and like recording him if you promote our show at the end of the asdfmovie, like at 7 or whatever it was. And I was like, that's deal, amazing. So what had to happen is like at 4 a.m. my time, I had to call, because he had school. So after school one day at like 4 a.m. in England, I had to call his mum, who was like outside a recording booth, so that she could like direct him on. So I'd be like, Yeah, so this next line is
Oh, you had to relay the lines through his
yeah,
mom?
but his mom's like a voice actor, so like she gets it. But I was like, yeah, no, I didn't even say I want to die, and she's like, okay, sweetie, now like I want to die, and he's like, I want my man. No, I want to die, and he's like, I want to die, and I'm like, that's great, thank you so much.
Someone please kill me.
And yeah, someone please kill me, and I'm like. And because it's so funny, I'm adding more lines. Can we get please kill me? I want to die, but I want to die. Time for me to die. And it was cracking me up. And so we recorded for like 30 minutes, and yeah, and that was it. We made the video, and it was great. And then the next year rolled around, and I was like, well, I still have like all these recordings. So I brought the muffin back, used one of those other unused recordings. And like within like an hour of the video coming out, I was getting a call from LA from like the studio that did the show being like, what have you done? And I was like, what do you mean, what have I done? They're like, why did you use that audio? And I was like, I own it? And they were like, no, you do not. So I didn't understand concepts like licensing. Like I did not own that audio. Like if I wanted to use his voice, even though we'd already done that recording, I had to like pay his agent thousands of dollars. And I'd done it now. So I was just like, oopsie. And yeah, we just had to send them thousands of dollars. And it's kind of weird sending a 9-year-old thousands of dollars, but good for him. Yeah, so that was a wild experience.
Wow.
And that's why like we don't have a muffin plush, because if we wanted to do like a toy that like said his lines, it would cost like 5,000-10,000
okay. That's
euros.
Interesting.
But that's just like that's how it works, and
that's how licensing works.
Because I've just been working with like friends and like people like Markiplier who'll be like, yeah, I'll do a line, why not? Because he's just a YouTuber and it's just a collab, but like in the real world, money.
Why does Ryan like trains? But specifically, why trains? Why not other means of transportation? Is this something from your life or your friends? Why is he called Ryan?
Oh God.
Also, one of the more prominent figures in your asdf movies. I like trains.
Yeah, so the I Like Trains kid's name is Ryan, and he was named after, like, it's never, like, said in the show, but I know.
You mentioned it somewhere.
I've mentioned it in videos.
I would not know this.
Yeah. But he's called Ryan literally because there was, like, this other animator, illustrator that was, like, really nasty to, like, me and my friend for, like, we made stuff that people liked, and like, he was popular too, but it was, like, I guess it was just envy. He was like, no, you have so many views for such shitty work, and it's stealing my views. And it's like, that's not true. But he was just like this really bitter guy, and I thought, what better way to fuck with him than by naming my most popular character after him? And I kept it to myself for like 5 years, and people still don't know who he is, and that's fine. But his name is Ryan, so it's Ryan Higa. No, it's not. But yeah, so the I Like Trains kid, so the original line was I like dinosaurs.
So
and it was going to be like, because that's why it's like, it was in a classroom, and it was like, I like singing, I like dancing, or like a lot of people think he says, I like dog sing, which is mad. He says dancing, or she says dancing. And then it was going to be like, I like dinosaurs, and it was originally recorded by like my, I think, 9-year-old cousin at the time.
And then he gets stepped on
and
by
then,
the...
no, it was just going to be then a T-Rex. Because this was before Stegosaurus. And then there's going to be like a T-Rex rips like off the roof of the school and just eats the children. And there was 2 reasons why it didn't happen that way. One, my friend who was animating that episode was like, I don't want to animate, that's too much work. The dinosaur has to bite a roof off and then eat, he's like, oh man, I'm not doing that shit.
He doesn't want to animate a mass murder of children, right?
Oh, he doesn't care about the murder of the children. It was just like, that's like a lot of frames of animation.
I see, yeah, okay.
Like, he's like, I don't know how to draw a fucking dinosaur.
Makes sense, yeah.
But so he was like, can you come up with something easier? And when I was like getting the train down to London to like hang out with him while he animated it, there was just a really fast train that like made me jump out of my skin. Like I was standing at the platform and this train went and I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Wouldn't it be funny if I got hit by that train just then? And I was like, it would have been funny if I got hit by that train just then. And then it just was like, yeah, I like trains. And he gets hit by a train. That's funny. Why not? And it's also really easy to animate. There's like one frame of him going, ooh, and that's it. And that was it. It was just train easy to animate.
And I Like Trains, the song, I think, right, is in the Emoji Movie?
Yeah.
It's in the backdrop, or like, how did that, like...
I don't No.
Do you know how
Basically,
that
like,
end up there?
Because Sony were, or whoever it was, Sony, I think they were making the Emoji Movie, and they were like, oh, we have a scene where a character goes into the internet. So I think they just like Googled popular internet videos. And, well, what's probably happened, and this is how I've had a lot of opportunities in my life, is some executive probably turned to their, like, 12-year-old nephew and was like, yeah, see, what's popular with the kids, little Jimmy? And he was just like, I like trains. And they just, like, they clearly looked it up. And so, like, they reach out to my agent, and my agent is like, oh, they want to put the music video in the thing. And I said, do they, though? Because
$100 million.
it was $500, actually. But I was just like, oh, I mean, the song's popular, but like the more recognizable visuals is actually from asdfmovie 2, so that would actually probably be better. And they were like, look, the kid said I like trains, and we want this video called I Like Trains. We don't know what you're talking about with this asdfmovie 2 garbage. They gave us like $500, and I just immediately turned around and gave like most of that to the animator of the video of the I Like Trains song, because like, I hadn't paid him much either. I didn't used to pay people very well, okay? I was just like, money. But now I know better.
But now everything is resolved with your animators, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, plenty of them don't like me, and that's fine, but like, I've tried to make it right with a lot of people. And because, the thing is, I was just like young, dumb, and I didn't know what things were worth. So I'd be like, yeah, you animate that in like a day, £50? I didn't know. Money was just this thing that I didn't understand, and so I paid people what they'd agreed to at the time. But then obviously as years had gone on and they'd grown up and like the video had made more money, it was like, hey, wait a minute, that sucks, and and there was problems, but I'm better now.
Another question from the fans. Are the corpse of Desmond the Moon Bear still floating over the surface of the moon?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's space, so it's like they don't really go anywhere. They kind of just stay in place.
So they're just floating there still.
Yeah, there was like one, as soon as I did that second Desmond the Moon Bear joke where it's just like his skeleton, which doesn't make any sense, by the way. He wouldn't decompose. It was like, everyone was like, you should have had the girl who got kicked to the moon fly past. And I was just like,
oh, that would be a callback, yep.
Yeah, that would have been way smarter. And I just didn't do that.
Do you plan callbacks in advance, or is it just when you sit to make the next asdf movie, then you're like, oh, we can make a callback to that or that?
Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, I just had an idea that would be like, oh, that would be funny to do that. Like, oh, I haven't thought of doing that joke that way. Sometimes it's just like we make the joke and it's like, oh, actually, we could bring this character back or this voice back or something. And sometimes it's just straight up like, that character was really popular and I want to sell more shirts. We're bringing them back. The cow's coming back. Money. What's this?
Do you which do you prefer more? Which do you like the process of making more live action sketches or working on asdfmovies and animated
live
content?
Action, definitely, because that's like actually fun. Like animation is like really cool and stuff, and the writing it is the same as writing live action, except when you're writing live action, you're just like, we can't afford to do that. But with animation, there's nothing you can dream up. Someone can draw it, except unless it's a dinosaur eating a school. That's too much.
Frames. Too much frames.
Too many frames. But so like writing, it's the same. But when it comes to making it, animation is just like slow, like drawing storyboards and sending them to animators and being like, oh, can you like move that character, or oh, can you? And it's like it's not very interesting. It's creatively rewarding, but like making live action stuff is fun. You're like on set and like the lights fallen and crushed the sound recordist and they're dead, and you've got to like. You've got to break down a wall to fit the camera into the shot, and it's like chaos, and it's exciting, and that's I love that. I love being on set and things going wrong, and like everyone else obviously hates it because they're trying to do a job, but I'm just like, ooh, problems. Let's fix them. It's like exciting and unpredictable, and like you end up doing things that you didn't expect you were going to do because something's gone wrong, and you have a new idea, and it's very stimulating and exciting.
Talking about something going wrong. You almost got kicked out of the University of Lincoln for posting a parody of the university's ad?
Yeah.
Can you expand on that?
So I was at university, and I was at this one lecture that was really boring. It was just really bad.
This is the same university that you've graduated media... What's the graduate? Media?
Media studies. Media. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never used my degree. It's just, I'm a YouTuber. No.
Okay.
The only thing that people don't ask for my degree, they're just like, how many views do you get? But Yeah, so I was in this lecture that I was just so bored in, and I actually like got out my calculator and figured out like how much each school year cost, divided that by the amount of hours of classes I would do, and figured out I was like, wow, this really boring class is costing me about about 150 pounds, and I was so annoyed by that I started writing these like really like these satirical adverts to just that were just supposed to be like really dumb. And be like, yeah, the school's on fire. Come to this uni, and I emailed the dean, headmaster, whatever, to be like, hey, can I film these? And he didn't reply, so I did it anyway. And you know, like I'm breaking every rule. Like we've got like guns, like imitation guns, obviously on campus. I'm like shooting students. Who are acting, to be clear. We're using the branding of the school and just like doing loads of stuff that, in hindsight, not strictly legal. And I released the videos, and people are like, "Oh, funny." And then the day after I released them, the school finally messaged me back like, "Hi Tom, we've just read your email. You will not be allowed to film these videos.
Too little, too late.
So don't do that. Thanks." And I basically just replied with
a link to
too late. Yeah, I replied with a link to the video like, man, it's out now. And they replied, this time they replied very quickly, and they were like, come in now. And it was like, the tone was like, you're fucked. And I just I left the state, basically. I left the country, the county. I just went home to my parents' house, like 200 miles away, and waited a week. And then in that time, like the videos got like exploded, and they were starting to get like national press coverage about like these amazing adverts for this school. And so then the uni is just like, we love this guy, our friend. And I'm like, I hate it here. And yeah, and then so many people joined the school the following year that they had to start housing people in caravans. And that was my fault. Like, it's a fine school. It's fine. But yeah, that was oopsie. So like the next year when the Navy emailed me like, hey, we want you to do a video that will make people want to join the Navy. I was like, well, I already convinced like 1,000 people to go to this shitty uni. So it's not like I can do much worse. Might as well, right? And fun fact about the Navy, they rejected the video we wrote for them, but then I made it myself. Can you guess which one it was?
For the Navy?
Yeah, it was
because I thought you made...
Like for the... it was like, we tweaked a few things, but it was like basically for the Army.
Because I thought that you made videos for the local police or something.
I also did that. That was a whole other thing.
Then I'm mixing something.
Yeah,
so then which one was for the Navy?
It was Sniper Pug.
Oh.
And they rejected it. Like, that would have been the best press they could have ever had.
How can you reject that?
I mean, I'm glad it didn't happen, because I'd probably feel kind of bad about that.
Can you also please expand on, at a certain point in his career, at a certain point of your career, your YouTube channel URL was just youtube.com/fuck?
Yeah.
Can you please... Can you tell me more about that? This gets the most round of applause? Okay.
So, yeah, in around, I think about 2012, YouTube rolled out a program called Vanity URLs, which was offered to like a lot of like higher subscriber YouTubers. And at that time, I was like one of the first 100 YouTubers to ever hit 1 million subscribers.
You were the 27th or something, right?
I don't remember. I can't find proof anymore.
Yeah, I think you're literally the 27th YouTuber
I remember 27 is my lucky number, so I definitely remember if it was 27.
Or maybe 29 then.
It was
something up to 30, yeah.
It was something like that.
Sorry.
That's fine. But, yeah, so... Ooh, brain go.
The FUCK URL, how did you get it?
So, yeah, YouTube were like, oh, do you want any vanity URLs? And I was like, oh, well, I mean, the youtube.com/Tom isn't being used. And they were like, cool, yep, you can have that.
That's your current URL, actually.
Well, I mean, I still have TomSka, but if you go to youtube.com/Tom, it will take you to my channel. And the same was true for like a lot of my friends. Like my friend Jack Howard got /Jack. My girlfriend at the time like got / like her last name, whatever. And I'm not giving her press. We broke up. But then I was just like on YouTube, and I was like,
Can I have this?
I noticed that the channel youtube.com/fuck had been banned, and I was like, so it's free. I was like, it's free real estate, and I just emailed my contact at YouTube and was just like, can I? And she went, fuck it, and she changed it to youtube.com, and she gave me just .com/fuck, and
but you got in trouble for that,
yeah,
right?
so like I had it for about a year, and that was insane for my channel discovery. I started getting an average of like 3,000 more subscribers a
Actually?
day.
Really?
Because people would just go, and the exact same.
Who just types a URL? Who searches for URLs randomly?
About 3,000 people a day, apparently. Well, like, I mean, because like, you know, like we didn't really touch on it much at the start, but like, yeah, the first cartoon I ever saw on the internet, I found out from doing that. Like, before, like, I knew what Google was. I would find websites by like typing in random words and then ending it in .com. So the first animation I found from going stupid.com, and so like kids will just do that, and people will do that. They'll just type in random stuff. So I had like /fuck for about a year. I had my business cards. I changed my business card to be youtube.com/fuck because it was epic. It was very funny. And then I got part of this YouTube marketing campaign, I think called Geek Week or something. And midway through the campaign, like the higher ups at YouTube found out about the vanity URL, and they went mad. They were so angry about it. Like I'd done something wrong. They pulled me from this ad campaign.
But they greenlit it.
They pulled me from this ad campaign. They were like, we're going to fucking delete your channel. We're going to ban. They were like furious. I was like, I literally went through the appropriate channels. I like reached out to my contact at YouTube, and they
applied for the program. Yeah.
Very luckily, my contact at YouTube had left the company, or she would have been fired. Because ultimately she was the one that approved it. But like, it was clear, like, if she had still been working there, she would have been fired for that. Which makes sense. She shouldn't have done that. But yeah, and it was like, whoa, what am I doing wrong? Oh my God. And yeah, I lost /fuck, and it was a weird day.
Well, at least not your channel and your content. So.
But yeah, well, I mean, that definitely, because they pulled me from the ad campaign, and my views like dropped by like 50% for like a year. Like I got punished. Okay. They definitely they were like, naughty boy. And I was like, I just asked.
And they said yes.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think they'd say yes. It's their fault, really.
Do we still have time? I'm sorry, I completely lost track of time. No, not really. Like, just not really. Do we have any? Do we have any questions from the audience? I think we do. Can we have a couple of questions? Do we have an additional microphone, or should I just run with the microphone? Or maybe? Oh, we do. Cool. Yeah, shoot it.
Hello, Mr. Ritual.
Ooh,
I'm a big fan. I watched about 40% of your videos, which is, the only percent humanly possible without sacrificing sleep. I have a question. Which of your videos was the most satisfying to both to plan, write, and shoot afterwards?
Ooh. So has anyone seen my video Horse?
Yes!
Wow. Is that a no? I don't speak Lithuanian. No. So I made a video called Horse, and I swear like the video came to me in like a fever dream. I heard this song that my friend had made, and I immediately just like all the pieces came together in my mind, and I was like, oh, I know what video I want to make. And we made it, obviously. And it was the only video I've ever made where absolutely nothing went wrong. Like, from idea to upload, everything I wanted to happen and everywhere I wanted to look happened. And so it was like, it's my perfect video. It's like, it's exactly what I wanted. And I loved it. And filming it was ridiculous. Like, I'm literally running in like a dress with real horses, which in hindsight was really dangerous. Like, I can't see. Like, I'm carrying my friend on my back, wearing a horse mask, so I'm blind. I'm practically naked. I'm just wearing a dress. Was I wearing underwear? You'll never know. And I'm being flanked by like half a dozen actual horses. Should I have died? Yes. But I didn't. And so yeah, Horse, favorite video.
Thank you. It's my favorite video also.
Nice. Thank you.
Hi, Tom. It's me again. And wanted to ask, we talked a lot about ASDF movie right now, and that's probably the most talked topic about it. But as Paulus mentioned, you're a man of many talents. You do like a lot of animations, crash zoom, you do sketches, and you even have your channel TomSka and Friends. And if you had a choice right now, which one of these would you do only? If you had to choose only one? Yeah.
I mean, well, there's two answers. One is the answer where I'm having fun, which would probably be like, yeah, my secondary channel, because the pressure's not as extreme. Like my main channel, it does have like 7 million subscribers, and there's a lot of eyes and there's a lot of expectation to like just be good still. Whereas on my secondary channel, it's just kind of like, just have fun, and people respond well to us just goofing around and having fun and being stupid. But money, so so like it has to be my main channel. But like, yeah, I think my heart would be my secondary channel, not because I resent my main channel, but just because I'm goofing around with my friends and having fun and doing what YouTube was supposed to be back when it was my hobby and not my jobby. Well, I speak English. Thank you.
Okay, and one more question. How does it feel to be like one of the only YouTubers who still does sketches? Like Smosh quit, others quit, and you're still doing it.
Well, that's where I touch back onto the thing about like, do I resent asdfmovie? Not at all, because asdfmovie is the only reason I can keep doing sketches, because yes, sketches are not profitable. The reason no one makes them anymore is because they cost money to make and the demand isn't there. There was a point in YouTube history where everyone wanted sketches and that was like the thing to do, and they became like an arms race to make better, more like cinematic looking sketches, and then Vine came along and destroyed that. And that's fine, but basically like people wanted these really high production value sketches, and then Vine came along and brought back the idea of like a sketch being like filming yourself with your like phone, and if you want to have a female character, you put a mop on your head, and like really low production value stuff, and people liked that more, and that was more relatable, and that's like carried on to TikTok and stuff, and that's awesome. But it just meant that now like these high production live action sketches, just people found them inaccessible. They didn't want to watch them anymore. So if I didn't have something like asdfmovie or brand deals, yeah, I would also have to stop making them, which is a shame because they are fun.
All right, thank you, and please don't quit YouTube anytime soon.
I'll keep going till I get cancelled. I've got like 6 months maybe before they find the tweets.
How are you not still?
I have no fucking idea.
Hello.
Sorry.
Hello there. Screw UPS. Yeah, as you said. My question is going to be a bit of a two-parter. So the first one is, on average, from start to finish of, let's say, thinking of idea, how long did it take for you, on average, to create, let's say, one asdfmovie? If you go, through all of them, and then the second part is, which of all the ones that you created was the longest one that took the time to create, and the concepting and stuff, writing, recording stuff, and why did it take so long time?
Just asdfmovies.
Yeah, just the
Okay,
asdf.
so realistically, we can make an asdfmovie start to finish in like 2 weeks. If we go from no ideas to upload, and it would be like a week of like mad like brainstorming, like trying to come up, like just like 8 hour, 10 hour, like just non-stop trying to come up with ideas, slamming Red Bulls and stuff, and then a week of kind of like animating while we also keep writing more gags, and we have done that. Like I think asdfmovie 14, the one we released last year, that was a case of that, because basically this brand out of nowhere were like, oh yeah, we want to sponsor you for an obscene amount of money to make an asdfmovie, also you have to release it at the end of the month, and it was like, so we just, that was a crazy panic. The longest one though was asdfmovie 2, and that was just because there was no panic, there was, and we actually I spent like over a year making it. Like I would come up with jokes and then record them, and then they'd get animated, and then I'd change them, and it kind of shows, because asdfmovie 2 has like a lot of the most iconic gags. Like I like trains, rainbows, pie flavor, Desmond the Moon Bear, like loads of like gags that have really stood the test of time. And I think that was because I spent like a year like just working on it, changing it and stuff, and that wasn't like me trying to like have integrity. I was just lazy. I was just like, it'll be done when it's done. Who cares? But yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I had a question regarding Crash Zoom, actually.
Sure.
What I remember, it's been a year since Crash Zoom, since the last episode of Crash Zoom. Is there anything, like, gonna come out, or?
So Crash Zoom is another animated series I do, and yeah, with the last episode we released was late 2020, and the reason there hasn't been anything since is because it just has struggled to find an audience, and it's very expensive to make. It costs like £20,000 or euros or so to make an episode, and then it gets like 1 million views, which is an amazing amount of views, and that's like lovely, but it doesn't. It's just really expensive. So we are making another episode, though. We'll probably finish writing it in the next 2 weeks, and then it'll be hopefully out at the end of the year. We are going to have to stop, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, I think we're getting thrown out, right? Just straight.